in verse number 101 gone out to the 110, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing to the people of Iman, and that is the Muslim Ummah of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And today's topic is about the taking care of the world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding and directly talking to us, and is saying, "O you who believe, ya Ahlul Iman." As we know from the Quran, anytime Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about all humanity, He addresses as Ya ayyuhan nas, O you people. When He addressed to the Muslim, He says Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, particularly to the Muslim. When He addresses Ya Ahlul Kitab, means the Christian and Jews and the Sabain. So there are three categories Allah addresses to, and this is addressed to the us. So, O you who believe, be conscious of Allah the way He deserves to be aware of. So be fearful of Allah and His rightly to be feared, and do not die unless you are in that state of being a Muslim. And hold the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all together, Jamia, not just one or two, just together. All of you are one, and the rope of Allah is one, which is Allah's Messenger and His Sunnah and the Quran. وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, and do not divide among yourself into groups. وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ, and remember the favor of Allah upon you. إِذْ كُنْتُمْ أَعْدَاءً, when you were enemy to each other. And this was revealed at the time when the people of Medina, there were two tribes of Aus and Khazraj. When Prophet migrated to Medina, they were the major tribes, and they always used to be in the state of war with each other for more than 100 some years. And Prophet ﷺ, with the love of Allah and His Messenger in the Quran, made them a loving brother to each other. And during this revelation of this ayah, the incident happened that there was some Jewish elder person who knew the history of them, and he wanted to create a dispute among Muslims. So he came among the youth of the both Aus and Khazraj. They were together sitting someplace, and he started reminding them, recited some poetry verses in Arabic, which was very emotionally charging, when they used to do the one during the fighting with each other, the war when they had. So that caused some emotional upheaval among them. So one called out the group, Ya Ma'ashral also Khazraj, and they both got up and they were about to pull out their swords and start fighting each other. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came to learn about it, and he came, and this revelation was there for them. So that you were hateful enemy to each other. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَكُنْتُمْ إِذْ كُنْتُمْ عَادَاءً فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ, He made your heart one together, so that you فَأَصْبَحْتُمْ بِنِعْمَتِهِ إِخْوَانًا, and He made with His mercy, with the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Islam and the Quran, that He made you beloved brothers to each other. وَكُنْتُمْ عَلَى شَفَاعَ حُفْرَةٍ مِنَ النَّارِ, and you were at the pit of fire, to be fall into the pit of fire, at the edge of a cliff of fire. فَأَنْقَذَكُمْ مِنْهَا, He saved you from them. كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ آيَاتِهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ. So this is how Allah explained His verses, so that you may be guided. And then next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلْتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٍ يَدْعَوْنَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ, among you there should be a group of brothers or people who should be inviting people to the good. وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, and command for being good. وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and forbid from the evil. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. This is the people, or the group of successful people, who are the real successful people in the hereafter in the world. وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ تَفَرَّقُوا وَاخْتَلَفُوا مِنْ بَعْدِ جَاءَهُمُ الْبَيِّنَاتُ, and to not be among those who divided among themselves and split into groups after the guidance of clear signs of Allah has come to you, which is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Quran and Islam. وَأُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. For those who did this, for them there's a very painful punishment is awaited and prepared for. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now describing what will be the punishment in the dunya and the akhirah. The hereafter punishment will be the day of judgment. يَوْمَ تَبْيَضُّ وُجُوهُ وَتَسْوَدُّ وُجُوهُ فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ اسْوَدَّتْ وُجُوهُهُمْ أَكَفَرْتُمْ بَعْدَ إِيمَانِكُمْ فَذُوقُوا الْعَذَابَ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَكْفُرُونَ. So there will be the day when there will be some faces will be brightened. تَبْيَضُّ وُجُوهٌ وَتَسْوَدُّ. Some faces will be darkened from the disobedience of Allah. Those who are the darkened faces, those are the people they did kufr after they have seen the truth and the iman. Means if we once become Muslim, we have no choice to divide. We are not forced to be Muslim, la ikraha fi din. But once we are Muslim, we have to stick together. No matter how disputed we are, we have to stick together. And then there are the faces who will be darkened on that day. On that day will be because they denied after they become believers. So now they have to taste the punishment for which they have done the kufr of. So what they denied after believing. Our command, unity is a command and a fault. Unity is obligatory. Like azan is a sha'ir Allah. Azan, calling azan, is a sha'ir Allah. If we find there's a problem making azan outside, we can make inside azan. That does not make us non-believer. But if we are united and dispute and divide among each other, that is a kufr from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command and the Prophet's sunnah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further says in verse number 107, وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ بِيَضَّتْ وُجُوهُهُمْ فَفِي رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. Those who are brightened faces, they are going to be in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they will be there forever. So this is the everlasting, never-ending success. Khalidun means ever, never ending. This is going to be the existence that we cannot imagine in this our existence because the time is limit. And that time should be no limit. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will change. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further says in verse number 108, تِلْكَ آيَاتُ اللَّهِ نَتْلُو عَلَيْكَ بِالْحَقِّ وَمَا اللَّهُ يُرِيدُ ظُلْمًا لِلْعَالَمِينَ. These are the verses of Allah which have been recited with the truth, and Allah does not intend to do any transgression or any wrong or injustice to His creations. And all the world, alameen. And we only know one alam. But there are multitudes and multiple of alam which we know. What today we know is that 3% of what the science have discovered, what we can see, 3% of 100%. The 97% of the existence, we do not even know what it is. And according to one of the hadiths, the entire creation is like a little portion of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation is, which is what we know today, known universe, what the galaxies and this Webb telescope have seen. For counting the number of stars and galaxies and the things which is, it needs 300 billion some years to count it, if you want to count it. We can't count the hairs on a human body. If you want to count somebody's hairs, we cannot. It's so impossible. And that is much more than that. And there are more neurons and cells in our brain than in the galaxies, what we know. This is the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. So we need to understand that how great is Allah's creation. If we say Allahu Akbar, it means something if we could comprehend. Allah is not great in comparison of anything because God cannot be created to creation. Allah is the greatest of any imagination of a greatness. This is why we say Allahu Akbar. There's nothing greater than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further says, وَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَى اللَّهِ تُرْجَعُ الْأُمُورُ. And whatever is between heavens and earth, what we know and what we know not, all belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all matters return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this verse is the punchline of all this discussion above. كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةً أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ. You are the bestest of the best nation Allah has ever brought out for the mankind. There is a difference. Seeker, provider. There's a difference. A seeker, needy, want, the person of the wants, the persons of giver, the provider. We can never expect our newborn baby to give us anything. We never imagine a newborn baby to give anything to parents. And we always want to give them without expectation of a return. When the mother gave birth to a child, this is the beauty of creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Human nature is, when we go through anything which causes pain to our physical body, we never love that. We never go near that thing which causes pain. The childbearing 9 months in the womb of a mother and then giving birth is the most painful experience of human. And what happened? When the baby is born, Mother loves the baby most. No matter what, how good, bad that child is, that's unconditional love. Even though mother will be angry about the child behavior or whatever they do, but it comes to cursing them, she will not curse them. Even if she does, her intention is to get them better. And this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's beauty, that what happens is there's a hormone called oxytocin. That hormone comes out into the human brain. There's a hormone called dopamine. Dopamine gives a short-lived pleasure. 45 minutes. Whenever we are happy and some good news comes, that dopamine comes out. And that surrounds our brain, and brain feels good. But that lasts only 45 minutes. But the oxytocin and GABA-aminobutyric acid, serotonin, these are the chemicals which last for days and long time. So what happens when a mother nurtures and suckles the baby? Oxytocin gets released. When it holds the mother, the baby, and the parents, when they hold the child, they get a feel of this comfort because this is their child. And mother loves that baby after going through the pain of childbirth and never abandons the baby. No matter what, if she's sleeping, she will wake up when the baby cries. And recently I just learned something very interesting. All human babies, they have 5 sounds before they can talk. Those 5 sounds means either they are hungry, they are tired, they need to go to change, or they are in pain, or they want food, or whatever, comfort. So there are 5 voices their body makes from the throat, which mother understands without knowing that she's understanding. This is the beauty of Allah's creation of that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this beautiful thing. So we as a provider, we have been told, Kuntum khaira ummatin ukhrijat linnas. You are the bestest of the best creation of nation Allah has ever brought out for the mankind, for the entire humanity. Ta'amuruna bil ma'ruf, who promote the good. Anything which is good, a Muslim should stand by that. No matter whether that is coming from a non-Muslim or a Muslim or for anybody ignorant or educated, we have to stand by the good. Ta'amuruna bil ma'ruf, who commands the good no matter what. Wa tanhauna 'anil munkar, and they forbid the evil. No, whatever is wrong, we are not with it. Whether it is in our favor or not, we have to stand by the truth. Wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. And the ultimate thing is, we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter what. وَلَوْ آمَنَ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. Now Allah is saying, if had the people of books have believed in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam along with their books, Allah promised in the other place in the Quran that we will give them double reward for following their prophet, which is Isa alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam, to Jesus and Moses, and their scriptures, which is Torah and Gospel, and believing in Quran, they will have a double reward. That's a promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran and the hadith of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. But Allah says, وَلَوْ آمْنَ أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ لَكَانَ خَيْرٌ لَهُمْ. It would have been a very, very good thing for them. مِنْهُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ أَكْثَرُهُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. Among them there are good people. There are righteous people. But most of them are disobedient. Fasiq is the one who understood, believed, and then disobeyed. Fasiq is the one who's a believer who disobeyed the command of Allah and His Messenger. And this is what happened. Those are the people in the town of Dawud alayhi salam. They were told not to do the Saturday work, and they disobeyed the command. They were turned into monkeys. This is a fasiq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the covenant of the Prophet before giving them the prophethood. And He said, if you turn away from it, then you'll be fasiq. Prophets' souls were told before the creation of Muhammad Rasulullah, physical form, and all their bodies in the physical form. Allah promised them. So we are commanded, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, kunu qawamina lillahi shuhada bil qist. So, O you who believe, be upright with Allah in all firmness, bearer of the witness with justice. وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَأْنُ قَوْمٍ أَلَا تَعْدِلُوا أَيْدِلُوا هُوَ أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. And let not the enmity of a people incite you not to do any injustice. So act fairly as it is nearest to your true piety, and keep fearing Allah. Verily Allah is fully aware of what you do. وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ عَظِيمٌ. It is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to those who believe and do righteous deeds, that for them is forgiveness and mighty recompense in store is being waited for them in the hereafter, the everlasting, never-ending success. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَكَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ الْجَحِيمِ. And those who deny and did the kufr and lied, for them, from the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for them there is a painful punishment in the blazing fire. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ هَمَّ قَوْمٌ إن يبسطوا عليكم أيدهم فكفى أيديهم عنكم واتقوا الله وعلى الله فليتوكل المؤمنون. O you who believe, remember the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to you when a people had firmly resolved to stretch forth their hand against you. Then did Allah withhold their hands from you, and keep fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah alone let the believers put their trust into Him. It's a reminder for us as a Muslim, when the Sahaba Ikram Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'in, when they were in the Makkah and the Medina in the beginning, it was a very, very scary and fearful state that their survival, their existential threat was there, because they always were out there to kill them. And it was, the whole country was Muslim Ummah in the Medina, which were nothing more than few hundreds and thousands in time. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding in Surah Al-Ma'idah that remember the favor of Allah upon you. And we can imagine ourselves, those who immigrated from the Muslim countries to live in this country, that where we were not able to perform our prayers in places, Allah gave us the prayer of worship. When we did not have jobs, Allah provided us with all those. The security, the home, the family, and all Allah has blessed us with. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, commanding us, now it's your job to take care of the mankind. Ukhrijat nas, you're being brought out for the people. Now there was something I've been talking about all along, all this time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding us that we should take care of people. Instead of being seeker and wanter, we should be provider and giver. We should treat world that everybody I see needs my assistance, what they need for. Not that I should be taking. And somehow I find myself, and I'm not going to use any name or word, but particularly we feel as a person, as a Muslim, that world owes me something. And that's not the case. I owe to the world because Allah made me Muslim, and my job is to take care of everything from nature existing. From animal world to the plant world to the nature of the earth, the environment, and every single thing is a Muslim person's responsibility to take care of, without expecting any return or thank. This is what I'm understanding at our beloved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَلَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, when he did do favor to anybody, he never expected a return. The most difficult part is not to do good to the one who is good to you. The most difficult part is doing good to the one who is bad to you. That is the most important thing. And every one of me as a Muslim, I always think I'm better than other Muslim. I'm better than other person. I'm better than somebody. Unless that person is very powerful. And that's where we surrender. Just an example, not a direct comment. I was in Saudi Arabia for doing first Umrah. I went to there in the month of Ramadan. When we were returning, we were at the counter to check in our ticket line, luggage. There were some employees from the government, whatever the airport, they were standing, bunch of them, young boys, they were smoking cigarette at Jeddah airport. So we were few Afghani, some Pakistani, some Bangladeshi, Indian people. They were elderly folks. They were gray-haired, elderly men. They were tired of sitting after Umrah, it's exhaustive experience. So we were sitting there and we were asking them, please let us check in. And all of them had American passport. And we were told these were smoking cigarette, talking about, their own thing. They would not pay attention. And the counter was supposed to be the one where you check in the tickets. And suddenly a Caucasian couple walked, with a woman wearing a blue skirt, long skirt, and the man. And as soon as they saw them coming, 4 of them dropped their cigarette, ran over the counter, opened the counter, and started serving them. And after their service, we were allowed to check in. This is what effect of an influence of some personality over others. And this is when you see that powerful person is coming, everybody bow down to that. And this is how we indignate ourselves among each other. So we need to start respecting each other. We can be different of opinion. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Ikhtilaf Rai is a mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in my ummah. Difference of opinion is a mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the ummah, because we're forced to think. If I do something and you say, brother, where's the evidence of such thing? So that will make me go and look into that fact. But that doesn't mean you should hate me for that. Because I do whatever I know and you know whatever you know. So we should be very kind in our approach. There's a reported incident about Imam Hassan and Hussein alayhi salam radiallahu anhu. They were young in their age, and they saw an elderly man was making a wrong wudu by not in the sequence. And they did not know how to approach this elderly uncle. So they went to him, they said, Uncle, we both want to learn how to perform the wudu. Can you check and correct us? So he for a moment paused. These kids, grandchildren of the Prophet, they're asking me, okay, so they started doing wudu in front of him as supposed to be done. And when he saw them doing, he realized that they could not be wrong. Maybe I need my correction. Sometimes you need to approach very soft-handedly when we want to correct. As Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu said a beautiful word, he said, if you speak to a person of a level which is not to his comprehension, you will lose a friend and you will earn an enemy. And he says, be watchful of the one you do good to. That will be the worst one to strike you back. Ibn Muljim is the one, when he came to Ali radiallahu anhu, he brought his sword. He took a bay'ah on his hand. And he was a very good practicing Muslim if you want to know his life. He was a teacher of Quran. He was a warrior, a mujahid. He fought in many battles. And he was a very devout believer in Muslim. But he believed in his heart, Ali radiallahu ta'ala is the one who is the cause of problem in the ummah. After doing all this, and Ali radiallahu ta'ala took care of his needs, give him the whatever stipend and financial help needed, he is the one who struck him in the middle of salah when he was standing, struck him on his head and killed him. And he, at the death moment when he was being killed, he said, I did the justice. This is how sometimes people could be wrong, and their wrong led them to this far wrong that they do not feel. Those Muslims who are thinking with the suicide jacket they are killing Muslim as they are doing a justice to anybody, that is not Islam. There's a thing which are done to be by the government level and individual level. Some, I don't want to name the people, there's a group of people who think they are doing justice by forcing individual act into public act and reverse the public act into individual act. So if somebody does not pray salah, in one country there used to be mutawwa. They would go and beat up people, why don't you make salah? Salah is a personal command. One can make with a jama'ah, can make without jama'ah. But they were beating up people to make salah. But when an American woman, they tried to force her to wear the hijab, she slapped them. And that's what learned the lesson. The jihad is called by the government. Individual person cannot restrain himself with the weapon and explosive and come out in the public and blow himself up and considered shaheed. That's suicide, that's not jihad. This kind of sickness has developed into the people. So our task is to take care of the world. So all the talk, what I'm doing, the one point we should remember, in the month of Ramadan, we were retrained, refreshed our training for coming close to the Quran. Every one of us has an obligation. Allah will ask us about the Quran. Allah has given us this book, His own personal word, which has been unadulterated in the history of humanity, never happened. So we all have an obligation in the month of Ramadan. This was the month which was revelation of the Quran began. We must every day read the Quran, whatever we can. Allah will judge us on our ability. We should make a task, a resolution after this Ramadan that I am going to read no matter one verse, one line, one ayah, one word for the comprehension. As the hadith of Rasulullah is, reading one line or verse of Quran is better than performing salah entire night. Because that understanding and comprehension and implementing. Sahaba used to come to Prophet and they will take a lesson of 10 verses of the Quran. They will go home, they will reflect, ponder, implement it, and then they will come and ask for 10 more verses. And this is how the seeking and learning. So we are busy. We cannot do 10 verses. Okay, we will take 10, but then come back and come learn more according to our ability. The second thing which was ukhrijat linnas, we were supposed to take care of the mankind. Whole entire world is our responsibility. And somehow, as a 1.6 or 2 billion Muslims have resigned of their job. Instead of provider, we have become seeker. Instead of caretaker, we become to be caretaken by others. So when somebody takes care of you, then he tells you what to do. So we, in this country particularly, we have an opportunity to change the system for the better, serve the system for the good. In the history of Islam, what I have learned, Sahaba Ikram, after Prophet, till recently, Muslim never went to non-Muslim judges for settling their dispute. But now, we trust the non-Muslim judges better than the Muslim judge for settling the dispute. There is an incident mentioned in Quran, in Surah Sad, about Dawood alayhi salam. When two people jump in his home, when he was in the very private quarter making the worshipping of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nobody was supposed to enter, and he was the king of the time. Allah had given him the big power and control. And they wanted to settle a dispute. There's more detail, just to cut it short. One person had 99 goats, and one person had 1 goat. And the one who has 1 goat said, we want you to settle our dispute. I have only 1 goat and he has 99 goats, and he is very good with his speech and overpower me, and he wants me to give this 1 to him also. It is very obvious, 9 to 1, right? Dawood alayhi salam verses in the Quran is, without asking the other party, he said that is injustice, and people often do this, and suddenly he realized that he did not listen to the one who has 99 goats. He went into sajda and seek the pardon from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The message is, listen to the both party before we become judge. No matter how much people cry and pretend that they are the suffering party, as a Muslim, we are supposed to listen to all. And we were supposed to be the judge, not to be judged. We're supposed to judge. And we are starting judging very wrongly. In the matter of dispute, we should judge, what I'm trying to say. So we have an opportunity to be in our local politics. We can be part of a school board. We can be part of the library. We can be part of the fire department. We can be part of the police service. We can be part of the volunteer group. We can go out and help people whatever we can to provide them the service for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should be part of the local politics in the councillor or the mayor level, school board level. We should be part of all these things, and then the county and the state and the federal level. Why? Because we are supposed to be taking care of mankind. In other words, we are coming from the countries where you cannot be part of the civil services. So we have lost the sense of civil duties. And this is what the message is. We don't need any more doctors and engineers and businessmen and construction people or taxi driver or this and that. We need people who need to take care of the other people. And this is why we were made. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the wisdom to get our individual level, whoever among us. If we have 10, 15 people running for one position, we will find if one person gets into that system, it will help community and help to represent Muslim in that board. In my personal experience, many people ask me, why don't you run for the mayor of the town? Because they think that mayor of the town could be an honest person, and they think I'm a better person. So the people in this country have really open mind. What we need to do is we need to open our mind also. And we should take care of the community rather than just seeking and be asking and being begging for support and complaining. In school, they are teaching subjects which future generation will be affected with. It's a law now to teach a child for LGBT issues. So Muslims are complaining that we do not want this to be taught to our children. But we are not in the school board to make the decision to set the curriculum. If we are in the school board, the curriculum will be set by people who are sitting there. So complaining and sitting outside, not being in the part of the system, you can never be influential. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. And